Next on KXLY4, we've got Zag Mania. Dennis Patchen is the leader when it comes to covering Gonzaga. He'll recap today's game and bring you all the excitement live from Salt Lake City. Plus the top secret photo shoot that put Gonzaga on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And then local judges traded in their courtrooms for a full court press. How today's game brought business to a standstill at the courthouse. And tomorrow, KXLY4's own chief meteorologist, Chris Crocker, will make her Spokane Civic Theater stage debut. But you can see her before opening night as she rehearses her first dramatic role. Join us as we go backstage on Golden Pond.
Live from the KXLY4 HD Broadcast Center in downtown Spokane. This is KXLY4 HD News at 6.
Zag Mania is in full force after a narrow win for the Bulldogs today. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Nadine Woodward. That game, a nail-biter nearly the entire time, but the Zags ended up on top. We have team coverage of the Zags tonight. Annie Bishop, live at Gonzaga with more on the team being featured on this week's Sports Illustrated cover. Ian Cole is in Salt Lake talking with Zag fans who were at the game today. But first, we start with 700 ESPN's Dennis Patchen, who has a recap of today's game. Dennis, boy, that was exciting.
I don't think many people in Spokane, if they're Zag fans, have any nails left on. They've probably all been bitten off. Won't have to worry about getting a manicure this week because you don't have that problem because they're gone. We're in a street fight here in Salt Lake City with the Southern Jaguars. Mark Few and his team with a situation here today where they were hoping that it would be a 116 easy one, but it was anything but. Southern hit 5 3-pointers in the first half, 5 in the second half, and their shooting kept them in this game. Zags had his lead 7 early, 11 in the second half, but it wasn't enough to keep Southern away. Pretty move by David Stockton with the bucket in the basket. And then Kevin Pangos hit some big threes in this basketball game, including one late, and Gonzaga survives. They hang on and survive with a 6-point victory here today as they send the Jaguars home. A lot of people saying, well, if Gonzaga plays like that, they're not going to get very far. And you're right, they aren't going to get very far if they play like that again today. But the NCAA tournament isn't about style points. It's about surviving and keeping your focus. No matter what you do today, tomorrow is different.
I was thinking and trying to tell the team was we're not losing this game. You know, you can't have any doubt in yourself and can't panic at all. Even though they're a 16 seed, you just got to focus on beating Southern, and that's what I tried to tell the guys, and we executed.
That was a great team. 16 seed, they probably should have been a higher seed than that coming in this tournament. But I mean, like you said, it was nice to get it out the way and move on to Wichita State.
Nadine, the Zags will advance on to Saturday's third round of the playoffs. As we said, though, they're going to have to play better on Saturday than they did today, or their tournament run is going to be a short one. We'll have more highlights, more reaction coming up a little bit later on in sports.
Yeah,
Nadine?
going to have to ramp things up. Thanks a lot, Dennis. Well, people across Spokane were glued to their TVs watching the game this afternoon. Everyone here at KXLY certainly on pins and needles watching, including the guy who's producing this show, Joseph Suttner, a GU alum. The Bing Theater downtown brought out a huge 29-foot HD screen for everyone to come out and watch. And at the game, a different view, but a very similar feeling. KXLY4's Ian Cole joins us now live from Salt Lake. Ian, you too are an alum of GU. What was it like to watch this game?
Well, let me put it this way. I went in at halftime, and I saw Tom Giles, and I said, Tom, feel my hands. And he says, why? And I said, just feel my hands. And he said, they're all cold and clammy. He's like, what, are you getting sick? I said, no, I just watched the first half of that game. You kidding me? And that is what was shared among many GU fans here that I talked to after the game. Before the game, most fans were pretty confident, although none would admit it on camera. They said, you know, one seed's never lost. It's not going to start happening now. I even talked with a former basketball player, Mike Champion. He said, if you're completely confident going into any NCAA game, you're not truly a Zag fan. Others were excited and cautious.
Now we have a little chip on our shoulders because we've got to prove that we deserve to be number one.
I have them winning.
Yeah, we're going
all the way.
In the game, a little bit of a different story. Fans and players were visibly upset about some of the calls. Most of the people down the stretch started cheering for Southern. It definitely took a turn for the worst for Zag fans in the middle, and then eventually back towards the end. People, you could feel it inside the stadium. They could feel like something was happening, and so those fans, perhaps from the game before, started cheering for Southern. Very scary. And then at the end of the game, finally, after the buzzer sounded, before anyone started clapping, a large gasp from the GU fans, and everyone just exhaled. So very exciting game, a nail biter, and it's on to Wichita State. Reporting live in Salt Lake City, Ian Cole, KXLY4 HD News.
Thanks, Ian. A game not good if you have high blood pressure. Well, Sports Illustrated Zag edition hit newsstands today. The coveted cover featuring Kelly Olynyk surrounded by students showing their school pride. KXLY4's Annie Bishop live at Gonzaga, and she's got her hands on a copy of that issue.
Yeah, I snagged a copy this morning thanks to the distributor. Now, typically, Spokane stores order about 360 copies of Sports Illustrated every week. This week, they have distributed 10,000 copies of this magazine. This is the 5th time the Zags have graced the cover of Sports Illustrated, and it's clear from the faces on this cover, it's an experience students here will never forget.
If you've ever been in the kennel, you know Zag fans don't mess around. They are loud, proud, and now on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
It's so awesome. I mean, that's a big part of the school and the community, is just showing your Zag pride.
The top secret photo shoot went down just before spring break.
My boss sent me a text message, say, be here, be ready for a photo shoot, so come in your Zag gear.
A once-in-a-lifetime experience.
It was really scary because he picked us one by one. So it was like the old dodgeball days where you're like, pick me, pick me.
50 students in all, surrounded by Zag star Kelly Olynyk.
He's huge. I mean, we're short girls. It was like, hi there.
The shoot lasted 2 hours. Not once did their enthusiasm fade.
Harper said he's never had a school do something like that because we just kept cheering.
Excitement they vowed to keep secret until this week.
We got a bunch of text messages being like, oh my God, you're on Sports Illustrated.
Wayne Christopherson is making sure all those magazines get on store shelves today.
They're flying off the shelves, literally.
There are only 10,000 copies available, minus the few he's keeping for himself.
I've got a couple. Are you thinking about something? I'm in a little negotiation here.
Gracious enough to hand over one of his copies for this live shot. Now, this is one of 4 covers going out across the country today. The other 3 covers featuring other top teams in the NCAA tournament. Now, Wayne Christinoff, the distributor I spoke with earlier, expects this magazine to be sold out within the next 24 hours. Reporting live, Annie Bishop, KXLY4 HD News.
Thank you, Annie. Kudos to the students, too, for keeping that shoot top secret. Well, coming up next for the Zags, the Shockers of Wichita State, the 9-seed upsetting Pittsburgh today, and that sets up Saturday's matchup in Salt Lake. The winner, of course, advancing on to the Sweet 16. KXLY4 has your complete Zag Mania coverage on TV, on the radio, and on the web. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter for live updates from the crew in Salt Lake City and tell us your hopes for this year's Zags. Well, we are off to a rainy start for spring this year. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Chris Crocker. Another crazy day of weather, huh?
Yes, and I never saw any rain where I was out and about. It was all snow. We had snow, graupel, some rain showers, a few rumbles of thunder even. And as we take a look at our Doppler radar right now, we continue to see hit and miss rain and snow showers across the region, mostly snow. These will be tapering off later tonight as we lose our daytime heating and our sun sets, our air mass stabilizes. An exception as we head into the upslope areas heading down into the Palouse, where there is a snow advisory, or a winter weather advisory rather, 1 to 3 inches of snow possible. We could also see some significant accumulations in the central panhandle, 1 to 4 in the valleys with up to 10 in the mountains. Our temperatures running below average. It's 41 in Spokane, 40 in Deer Park, in the mid-30s in Sandpoint and Coeur d'Alene. Our winds nowhere near as windy as yesterday, but still quite a breeze, and that is making it feel even cooler. Had to break out the wind chill map. 31 is what it feels like in Spokane. Feels like it's in the 20s in Coeur d'Alene and Moscow and Pullman. Here's a look at your HD day planner for tomorrow. A similar day, but not quite as dramatic. Still the possibility of an isolated snow shower, a high temperature of only 41 degrees and not quite as breezy. And we'll start the day off at a cool 22. I'll be back with your weekend forecast. I think you'll like it. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Nadine?
Looking forward to that. Thanks a lot, Chris. And now to a KXLY4 News update. The Pend Oreille County man charged with stabbing and killing his own mother appeared in court today. Police believe 24-year-old Matthew Swancara was responsible for the death of his mother, 57-year-old Sally Swancara. She was found stabbed to death in her Elk area home earlier last month. Matthew Swancara was found hitchhiking in Kalispell, Montana when he was arrested, and today he appeared in Superior Court in Pend Oreille but did not enter a plea.
Because there's a question of whether or not he's sane or not. We don't know. We don't have the full reports yet. We're not in a position to have him do an arraignment, which would be a plea of guilty or not guilty before we know what his competency level is.
Now, Swancara will be evaluated at Eastern State Hospital in Medical Lake. It will likely be over a month before we know those results. Well, you know her as our chief meteorologist, but did you know that KXLY's Chris Crocker has a hidden talent? Yeah, she can act. Coming up, we get a behind-the-scenes look at her role in the upcoming Spokane Civic Theater production of On Golden Pond. Plus, the majority of the judicial staff at the Spokane County Courthouse, they are Gonzaga alumni. We're going to show you how today's Zag game was quite the distraction there.
Well, not quitting my day job, I've got a forecast for you. Some cool weather, but sunshine too. That's coming right up.